Hello and welcome to Mind and Money Show, where we talk all things mindset, money management and our entrepreneurial journey. Along the way, we're going to throw in some amazing guests for good measure. I'm Shane Hyland.
I'm Gareth Shears. This show is going to change your life and teach you skills that school never taught you.
Can we talk about pensions and not my washing machine that is not working at the moment? It is such a first
I'm
world.
sure a lot of people would think the washing machine's more exciting than pensions, actually.
Do you know, you've aligned that well together. Both are boring. They just go round and round and round. First world problem. My washing machine is not working.
And actually, you come to an analogy of that later, actually, of an old-fashioned washing machine to a more efficient washing machine. We can use that one later. Remind me of that.
It's Pensions Week. Well, it's Pensions Week with us.
Yeah, Pension Week's with us, yeah. It's going to be the theme of this week, as you'll see on our social media, across the board. And this short podcast's about that as well.
You know, there is such an, especially here in South Wales, there's such a negative feeling for probably 2 or 3 generations on pensions. And for me, I think they're probably the best thing in the whole world of finance. There's so many positive aspects to be taken from them.
Oh yeah, I agree. They've got a bad rep from somewhere. But I think what we've got to bear in mind is that if you don't have some sort of pension, stroke saving for retirement, when that day comes, what are you going to do? Because the state currently, when I say the state, the government, is going to give you £179.60 a week, which is under £10,000 a year. That ain't going to cover most people's food and bills for the month.
No, and
you're not going to get that till you're in your late 60s.
And if they continue to use private jets to go to Australia, that 10,000 might be decreased even further. The thing we have to look at is, I don't think all income has to be from a pension. In the ideal format, you probably want pensions, state pension, works pension, private pension, but you can also have
bit of property,
property income, dividend income, savings income, ISA income. It can even part-time employment income. It just is that the pension itself has so many positive aspects for setting one up and contributing to it. You know, you can choose whatever, to a degree, you want to invest in, even commercial properties. You can decide how much money you pay in. You can decide when to take it out at a certain age. You can have a proportion of it back as a tax-free lump sum. And the government even give you a big bloody thank you for paying in every time. They give you a thank you pension tax relief contribution of 20 or 40%. You know, there are so many bloody positives about doing it, but older generations seemingly have this negative view of it, and they instill that to the new generation. Plus, I think people don't understand them.
Yeah, I think the Negative Events World Service probably doesn't help that with some of the stuff you see posted about pensions and are they the right thing and should you be doing one, and there's so much stuff around my favourite subject, crypto and trading, and everyone's trying to overcomplicate it when it just needs to kind of get simple. Like, in fairness, the government did try it with workplace pensions, where the employer's got to put a certain amount in, you've got to put a certain amount in, but to be honest, none of us are saving enough at all.
I thought you were going to say when the government decided when they were going back to pensions freedoms, it was the early 2000s. I've got a document, and it's the one page that I still retained on pension freedoms, and it's 3 A4 pages of just note upon note upon note to make the whole world of pensions
pension
easier.
simplification rules in 2006.
Yeah, to understand.
Yeah, well, it wasn't pension simplification, it was make pensions more complicated. But yeah, I think we do overcomplicate as well, because yes, you can invest in lots of things, but I think you just need to kind of find a good low-cost pension, invest in a good low-cost tracker, and just forget about it in reality.
And at the end of the day, you're only saving for the long term, for the future you. It's your money. You'll always get it back. But all you're doing is putting a bit aside with the help of an incentivized government scheme to spend money on the future you in many years to come.
Exactly. And you've got to think of the future. I know everyone's like, live for today. But that's all well and good. But if you're going to live to 100, which we are more likely to these days, you've got to have something to get you there, because you don't want to be working into your 70s. And most people's parents are not working in the 70s. I think you're going to see more younger parents kind of doing that. But, you know, like my parents got final salary pensions. You know, they had very modest jobs in the council. My mum was a nurse. But they've got guaranteed income. But those are disappearing, if not, for most people, have gone.
And it is a behavioural thing. The amount of people that go, I can't afford to start now. I'll do it in the future. It only needs to become a habit, to start doing something, reviewing it, and then just contributing more and more on a yearly basis, and forget about it. Once that becomes a habit on a regular basis, you don't need to do anything else about it.
Yeah, exactly. The thing with the pension is, because you can't access it until you're into your sort of mid-50s, 55 for some at the moment, is moving to 57, 58, and that'll probably keep going up when you can access your pension, depending if you've got some old ones. We won't go into the complexities of that. But yeah, it's effectively started young and just forget about it. Keep putting something into it, and you'll be surprised how the compounding effect of investing.
When you're talking about, we had somebody come into us last week, didn't we? Talking about starting it for the kids who are 4 and 5. And the numbers of saving, was it something ridiculously small, like $12.50 a week, or something like £50 a month into it?
I'll tell you exactly what it was now. The compounding effect. So here's an example. If you invested £20 a month for 30 years, sorry, £20 a week for 30 years, on a modest return, you'd be looking at £106,000. But actually the contribution would only be 31.
Yeah.
That's £75,000 profit. And if you think that actually you up that to £100 a week, if you can afford it, over a 30-year period, that's £531,000.
The numbers are astronomical. I suppose it just highlights the fact of starting something, creating a behaviour, making it a habit, and doing nothing else, forgetting about it. And the future you is taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. Because we are living longer, so you're going to have something when you get to that age. But there's lots of things to also think about. Like if you've already got a pension and you've started to kind of head in that direction, there's also some things you need to be aware of. One you need to be aware of is these scams which are going on with people saying invest your money in these overseas properties and all that type of stuff. I think we've got to kind of touch on that. And so many people trying to overcomplicate invest in people's money. You know, it is keep it simple, stupid. You know, it's not rocket science. You just need to control the cost. The only thing you can control when you're investing is the cost. What you cannot control is what happens in the world. You couldn't control what happened with COVID. You can't control what happens with the weather. So actually how all these things might affect the stock market, you cannot control. You've just got to play the long game. But what you can control is how much you pay for those investments and those pensions.
And your behaviours. I don't worry about the short term, week, 5 weeks, year. It is a long-term plan that was set up correctly on day one, and it will be correct on day end.
And you can't touch it. You know, if you're in your 30s and you're investing in a pension, you can't touch it till you're 57, 58 at the moment. So you've just got to forget about it for 27, 28 years and more. You know, it's not just for that period. You've got to bear in mind that's going to take you all the way through retirement, or as far as it can take you. So play the long game, because you have no choice with the pension. You've got to play the long game anyway.
The marvellous effect of compounded interest done over a long period, rather than just trying to raise so much more money when you're in your late 50s, early 60s to make up a pot of, as you said earlier on, £500,000. Divide that by 60 odd months if you're starting at 60. It's impossible to save. Start saving, make it a behaviour, create it into a habit of doing it regularly, and increase it as often as you can, and let everything else just pass you by. Forget about, as you said, all the negative events in the world, and continue to enjoy the now while you're still saving for the future you.
Exactly. So albeit pensions are not the most exciting thing in the world, but they're probably one of the best things you can have for an investment point of view in the world.
Other than a money-making machine, but that's kind of illegal.
Are you one of those trees which money grows on?
Yeah. There's what's the little things called, the saplings or whatever. There's none of them in our house free at the moment. We're waiting for them to grow. Spring may generate some more.
Along with your washing machine you're waiting for, is it?
Can't wait for my washing machine.
Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, then please subscribe and remember to follow us on social media for more content like this.